Am I right?
That's right, it was trading.
You're not rolling.
Sure.
It's not rolling.
Yeah, it's counting.
Okay, it's counting.
That's good.
Good afternoon. I'm Homicide Lieutenant Steve Gallagher. I'm here today to announce an arrest in the murder investigation of Dante Alston, a 30-year-old black male. This occurred on November 16th of last year. About 1:45 that afternoon, the two suspects, Deshaun Robertson, a 24-year-old black male, and Keith Hines, a 29-year-old black male, were having an argument with an individual who was standing in the front yard of the residence at 2045 Wright Avenue. That individual that they were arguing with did not live at that location but was there visiting the homeowner. During that argument, both Robertson and Hines pulled out handguns and started to shoot at that individual, who immediately ran inside the residence to avoid being struck by bullets. The individual was not struck. However, the victim, Dante Alston, who was inside the house and was no part of the argument outside, was struck by one of the bullets that passed through the walls of the house. The suspects fled the scene, and Mr. Alston was transported by rescue but died at the hospital. On November 17th, the following day, after detectives were able to identify the two suspects through witnesses and that third individual, they obtained arrest warrants for both suspects and began their search for them. It was believed at that time that the suspects probably left Jacksonville. On March 1st, 2017, we received a Crime Stoppers tip indicating that the suspects were hiding out in a day's inn in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. That information was passed along to the U.S. Marshals. And about 4:30 p.m. that afternoon, both suspects were taken into custody by the Marshals and turned over to the local authorities in Rocky Mount. The following day, detectives responded to that location to follow up on the investigation. And on March 9th, both suspects were brought back to Jacksonville. They've been charged with second-degree murder, attempted murder, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And I can attempt to answer any questions if you have them.
Dan Scanlon, Times Union. No idea what the argument was about out front?
It was over drugs and drug sales at another location.
Any other questions?
How did you get to the point of, tracking them to North Carolina? Can you say what kind of evidence came to light to help you get
Yeah, we received a Crime Stoppers tip that said that they were hiding out at the Days Inn in North Carolina.
Did it sound like they had left pretty quickly to North Carolina?
That was things that the detectives were hearing from the onset of the investigation, that they possibly left Jacksonville.
Okay.
You're welcome.